Okay, well here we are at the start of another video. This is actually going to be a third video to a couple videos that I posted a while back. I'm going to be experimenting with some paint on my C10, and I've got this old C10 hood that I bought, and I harvested the nose out of it because this hood is bent and the hood on my truck is not bent, but the nose was rusted out, so I chopped out the nose and welded it onto the other one. So I've still got this hood kicking around, and I'm just using it to experiment with paint. And I'm still going to be experimenting with the Rustoleum paint. What's on here now, it's kind of dirty, but this is the gloss black. And I got a couple other colors because I want to also experiment with mixing my own colors. But I'm still going to be using the Rustoleum oil-based paint. So I'll reposition. I'll go show you the paint that I'm going to be trying. Alright, so here's the paint that I bought. As you can see, it is still the Rustoleum. I mean, we're still trying to go with a low-dollar paint job. But I got the hunter green color, and I also got the gloss white. And what I'm going for here is kind of a very, very light green, like a seafoam kind of green. And so I'm gonna see how this works, see if it gives me the color that I want, or something close, something I'd be happy with. So we'll experiment with the colors, and I got the mixing cup there and a stick, and I got some paint thinner over there. And so first we're just going to experiment with getting the color how we want it, and then we'll put it in the spray gun and see how it shoots. That black that I put on there before, if I remember correctly, I did it in a 4-to-1 ratio, so it was 4 parts paint and 1 part paint thinner. So anyway, we'll I got to shake up these 2 cans of paint, get everything all mixed around, and then put them in the cup and try and get the color I'm after. Alright, so I got my 2 colors. Shook up the cans for 3 or 4 minutes each, get everything all uniform, get all the pigments and everything. You know, they separate when they're sitting on the shelf for a while, so shake them up just like you do a spray can. So anyway, we got the colors opened up. I also got myself a pen and a pad of paper so I can write down how much of each paint that I put in the cup, so that I can replicate this when I'm ready to actually paint the truck. Because what I intend to do is to buy the appropriate amount of each paint, but in larger quantities. I'll get a gallon. I'll buy the gallon jugs, and if I need to buy 2 of the gallons, then fine. But what I plan to do is get one. They sell the clean 5-gallon drums with a lid at Home Depot or Lowe's. Buy one of those, mix up my paint in one big batch, and just dip in and out of the batch to put the color in the gun, and then put the color on the truck. So anyway, I'm going to experiment here with getting the color that I want. Okay, so here's the color that I'm pretty happy with, at least in the cup. We'll have to put it into the gun and see how it looks actually on the panel. But I'll come over here to my sheet of paper, and here's what I started with. Started with 4.5 ounces of green, initially added 2.5 ounces of white, and mixed it up. I thought it was a little too dark, so I added a little more white, another roughly 1.5 ounces. Thought it was a little too dark, so added another 1/2 ounce. A little too dark, added another 1/2 ounce. And that's where we are right now. And that's what I'm pretty, at least to start with, that's what I'm happy with. So that adds up to 4.5 ounces of green and 5 ounces of white, roughly. So basically a 50-50 mixture. So I guess what I gotta do now is get the compressor and get my HVLP gun, and we'll go put it on that, spray it on that hood. Well, one thing I forgot before we go put this in the gun is I gotta thin out my paint a little bit. This is just pure paint in there. So I gotta add in some paint thinner, And I'm going to do it the same as I did before, which was a 4-to-1 ratio. You can't really see because I've been mixing with this cup, but there's roughly 12 ounces in the cup. So I'm going to add in 4 ounces of paint thinner and get this thinned down a little bit, and then we'll put it in the gun, and then we'll spray it on the hood. Alright, so as you can see, we got the paint thinned down, and I got it all into the Harbor Freight spray gun with a little filter there, a little plastic filter. And obviously you can tell I'm doing this all on the cheap. I've got my Harbor Freight gun and doing it outside and all that. So like I said, it's an experiment. It's a low dollar paint job experiment. So I'll go get the camera set up, and I got the air compressor out there, and we'll get some spraying done. Alright, so I got my air compressor dialed in right. I'm putting 35 PSI into the gun, and now I'll just do a couple of test runs to see if the fan pattern is correct, and then we'll start spraying down here. I've already sanded, I don't remember if I mentioned this earlier, but I sanded this down just with 150 grit on my electric DA sander, and just to give it some smooth texture to it. I know I shouldn't be touching it with my bare hands, but I'm doing it anyway. And so yeah, let's just experiment, see how it works. That seems to be quite a bit. Let's see if I can dial that down. Well, let's just go with it. Alright, so I know my technique was pretty crappy and everything else, but I'm pretty happy with it, at least for a test. You know, it's just an experimental hood, experimental piece of metal. Have not painted the truck yet, so we'll let this dry up. I'm pretty happy with the paint color, but I'm gonna let this dry up and see if I can get this out into the sun a little bit more. But otherwise, successful test. So we'll just see how it dries up, and then put another coat on it. And here's just a close-up of the paint on the hood. I'll come up there, you can see there's the old black, and I'm pretty happy with the color. And you can see there is a little bit of a reflection there. Every video that I've seen on doing a Rustoleum paint job on a vehicle, they wet sand it. They get in there and they do first coat, wet sand it with 1000 grit. I believe it was 1000 grit. Put a second coat, wet sand it with 1000 grit. Third coat, leave it, and then do clear coat. Wet sand the first coat of clear. Second coat, wet sand the clear. Third coat, wet sand it, and then buff it. So, but you can see there is a little bit of a reflection there. It is glossy. It does look good. So anyway, yeah, I'll just keep experimenting with this and keep filming the results.